Jai Prabhuji. In this meeting, we will continue to study the issue of the separation and the union. Prabhuji wrote that yoga is to reunite what has never been separated. In previous lesson, we studied the process of the manifestation of consciousness as matter. We've seen the formation of the mental realm, explained by Kashmir Shaivism. While consciousness appears as the universe, it takes form in a mental and physical substance. The physical realm is what is known to us as the world of objects, things that we can perceive through our mind and senses. The mental realm is the instrument of perception that is playing the role of the subjective in the dual experience, through which consciousness mirrors the objectives and experiences them. Today, we will look at the body-mind complex and understand the role that it plays in the dual reality. My name is Prema. I am Prabhuji's disciple since 1995, and we're here to study together his teachings of yoga. Humans are multi-dimensional beings. If you have the least familiarity with Eastern schools of medicine, you know that their practice is concentrated on a body of energy that corresponds to the physical one. This astral layer is a system of channels and converters of life force. It is known in yoga as prana. That flows through a network of nadis and chakras. This is our subtle body, upon which our body of gross matter is dressed. There is yet a more refined aspect of this energy on which we operate, the mental realm. According to yoga, the soul is layered in three bodies: the physical, the astral, and the causal. The physical body, or the gross body, is the stula sharira, consists of the annamaya kosha, or the food sheath. Linga sharira, or sukshma sharira, is the astral body. It consists of three layers: the pranamaya kosha, energy sheath; manomaya kosha, mental sheath; and vijnanamaya kosha, or intellectual sheath. And the Karana Sharira is the causal body that includes the Anandamaya Kosha, or the bliss sheath. The Annamaya Kosha is the dense layer made of the five basic elements, the Panchamahabhutas: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Anna means food, Kosha means cover or layer. As its name indicates, this layer is made of the food that we consume, that builds and sustains tissues and cells. When the body perishes, it will break down into the original basic elements. This is the body that is born, grows, deteriorates, and dies. The Pranamaya Kosha consists of 10 elements. It consists of the 5 pranas, or life airs, operating our body in different ways. Prana regulates breathing. Apana eliminates the body excretions. Samana governs digestion. Udana controls the vocal cords. And Vyana permeates the entire body. And the 5 karma indriyas are also part of the pranamaya kosha, the organs of action, namely mouth, hands, feet, anus, and genitals. So we may understand here that, for example, the hand, although perceived as a piece of flesh with bones, tendons, fingers, nails, its functioning is not a property of the object that we see. The organ is of the astral plane, while what we can see and touch is the food cover of the subtle object. Often people ask, how can they relate to this energy or causal body? Because they don't experience it. Well, we do actually experience those sheaths. In the level of the vital airs, we experience bodily sensations, pleasure, pain, hunger and thirst, cold and heat, those kind of sensations. But when we are accustomed to thinking that the physical is our ultimate existence, we attribute the experiences to that level, although it is not entirely the case. This body of prana and thoughts does not die when the physical body dies. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 13, it explains. Just as in this body, the embodied passes into childhood, youth, and old age, so also does he pass into another body. Today, there are many videos surfacing online of people who had near-death experiences. Those people can clearly and vividly testify that they continue to exist separately from their gross body on a plane that is more real than the physical one. Also, people who are clairvoyants, they are capable of seeing the spirits of deceased persons or people's aura, which is the body of prana. We can also find documentaries about children who genuinely remember who they were or what they were in past lives. Hence, the Sukshma and Karana Sharira, the mental and causal bodies, continue the journey for a longer time than the lifespan of the gross body. The Manomaya Kosha, or the mental sheath, its 7 members are the 5 cognitive organs, the Jnana Indriyas. Those are the faculties of the nose, tongue, eyes, skin, and ears. The manas, the conscious mind, and the chitta, the subconscious mind. This is where we experience impulses and desires. Thus, the manas in turn directs the 5 organs of action to act. Now, the Vijnanamaya Kosha is the intellectual sheath. It includes the Ahankara, ego, and the Buddhi, intellect. And the Karana Sharira, the causal body, consists of the Anandamaya Kosha, the blissful sheath. What is it made of? Ignorance. It is the cause of the further appearance of the astral and physical bodies. What is experienced here is, for example, the peaceful state of deep sleep. The Karana Sharira, having been made of ignorance, is eventually dissolves when pure consciousness state of the absolute unity of Brahman is regained. Now, Patanjali was mainly concerned about the mind and its functioning. In the first meeting, we've read Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the sutra stating that yoga is a cessation of mental modifications. Because all the separation occurs in the mind, means thought is the separation. The mind is the medium through which Brahman expresses itself as a relative reality of diversity. Prabhuji compared it to a prism that separates a ray of light into the different colors, saying that in the same way, consciousness creates multiplicity as it passes through the mind. Where mind come from? In Sankhya philosophy, we see the Mahat, the universal mind. The same would be Hiranyagarbha or Karya Brahman in Vedanta, the manifested Brahman. Now, remember that everything is composed of the 3 gunas. This includes the mental substance. The mind is in the domination of sattva guna due to its capacity to reflect consciousness. It is a subtle matter of ethereal nature, so although it's subjective to the senses, with knowledge and training, it can be observed. Now, the mind is called the antakarana, the internal organ, because it sets the separation. Consciousness localizes itself to a limited state, an individual mind, and externalizes the universe, creating inside and outside. Now, from this universal mind, the ego appears, or ahankara. I am the door. The thought I is very significant. It's the foundation of the building, the first thought that defines the differentiation and provides the conceptual platform for all the other thoughts and functioning of the mind and its extensions. In Shankaracharya's Vivekachudamani, we find breakdown of the different functioning of the mind. The antakarana, or internal organ, is called manas, buddhi, ahankara, or chitta, according to its respective functions. It is chitta when remembering that which interests it, manas when it considers, ahankara when it identifies with the idea of I, and buddhi when it determines the true nature of objects. Manas, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara. Manas is the conscious mind, the instinctive mind. It's restless in nature. It moves from object to object in search of pleasure and satisfaction of needs. It's like a radar. It receives impressions from its extensions, the senses or the jnana indriyas. It captures stimuli, translates and organizes them into clear data. It examines and evaluates them, the sankalpa and vikalpa, the pros and cons of the objects, and transmit it to the chitta. It also acts in the other direction by rendering different needs into reflexes and reactions through the karma indriyas or the organs of action. Chitta is the memory. It is where all the impressions perceived by the manas are stored. Not only from this life, but from past lives as well. Therefore, chitta is the subconscious mind. Buddhi is the intellect. It is the same as the mahat, the universal mind, but acts locally. It uses the data from the manas and chitta and does the complex work of higher thinking. Okay? It evaluates, analyzes, discriminates, and takes decisions. It has also the potential to override the lower levels of the instinctive mind. The more it is developed, the more it will supersede instinctive decisions. And it is also the one that projects the reality of names and forms. Through the buddhi, we perceive our reality as we do and gives it existence. Ahankara is false identification, the thought I that takes all the experiences in reference to itself. Now, this one thought is what makes all the difference. It's about identification. Things happen to me. Of course, we want only good things happen to us, right? What is it about good and bad things? We often hear people doubt the existence of God or any concept of higher agency, arguing if God exists and He's all good, then why there are bad things? What are things that we consider bad? Violence, poverty, disease, death. What are good things? Happiness, wealth, health. And we are making efforts to avoid bad things and secure the good things. Now, for a moment, let's look at something that is not related to us, okay? We've heard that someone stole money from the bank in a scam. So we think, oh, it's a bad person. Good thing the police caught the thief. And usually that's about it. Now, the next morning I go to the ATM and realize that all my money was stolen. Suddenly, the world turns upside down. I am anxious, confused, devastated, enraged. What is the difference? It happened to me. Then I read in the news that someone won the lottery, and I think, oh, what a karma. The next day, my neighbor won it. Wow, congratulations. Did you decide yet what to do with the money? And in the next day, I won it myself. Wow, it's the most amazing day of my whole life. I can't even believe this is happening. Finally, all my good intentions are heard by existence. So he sent me all this money because I have very important things to do for the world. So let me get started by going to the beauty salon. What is the difference? It happens to me. I am the center. In New York City, in the summer in Central Park, you see many people waiting in very long line. They're coming in groups. They bring camping gear because they are there for the entire day from early morning to get tickets for Shakespeare. Shakespeare's work is being read and performed for some 400 years now. Over time it grows in popularity. People watch King Lear, Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, weeping from intense emotions and really enjoying it. What makes a good movie? When the spectator is emotionally moved, be it hope, happiness, humor, or even sorrow, horror, or repulsion are attracting large audience. In real life news, we are most compelled to hear stories that bring oddities because we are attracted by the sensation, by the drama. When does it become a problem? When it happens to me. I am heartbroken. I am ashamed. I am in danger. I have all this ordeal going on. When we relate the experiences to ourselves, we forget that we are in a movie or a Shakespeare play, and the drama is not entertaining. So, we have a point here. We distinguish experiences that happen to this body-mind complex or related to it from things that are not. In the point of view of the thought I, bad things are what threatens my existence as separate entity, and good things are things that affirm the same. Now, experiences by themselves are not positive or negative. They are experiences played by and for consciousness. What categorizes them is our mind and its tools. We give them interpretations based on our instinctive mind, the subconscious content, and our identification. How do we decide that a certain temperature is cold or hot? We say that something is cold when our skin is warmer. High and low depends on our position. The mind divides the space inside the house from the space outside of it. But if we remove the walls, then what is in or out? So it is the same with the mind. There are so many experiences, so many thoughts. Some of them we relate to ourselves, while others not. But if we remove one thought, I, then what is the distinction? Everything is happening in one place, in consciousness. Now, in addition, we see that Shankara confirms that the different functioning of the mind, namely manas, chitta, buddhi, and ahankara, they are not different things. Mind is one, not four. But it is named differently according to its functioning. So what does it tell us? The mind understands division. The mind actually is a dividing tool. It is for creating a relative reality out of the undivided consciousness. It creates multiplicity. And this is how it perceives the world. So, any subject the mind deals with, it divides it and categorizes, sort it and organizes it, gives definition in order to grasp it. So, similarly, we spoke today about the 3 bodies and 5 sheaths. Though, in fact, we don't actually have many bodies. The body and the mind are one phenomenon. Prabhuji explains this in a few of his lectures he gave in the past about Hatha Yoga, which I highly recommend to look up in his YouTube channel. Or you can also read about it in his book, What Is As It Is, where he explains that the physical body is an exteriorization of the mind. So the same rule can be applied to the entire theory of creation. Sankhya mentions 25 categories of creation. Kashmir Shaivism counts 36. These are different ways in which the same phenomenon is being explained. But in reality, there are no stages or no processes in the sense of beginning, middle, and end. Consciousness doesn't change. Okay, Om Purnamadaha Purnam Idam. That is the whole, this is the whole. The subjective, the objective. From that whole, this whole is manifested. It is full and complete at any given moment. Creation is not an event on a timeline. It is happening at any moment in our mind. Thank you very much. We will continue in the next meeting. Jai Prabhuji.